Hello everyone, very good afternoon and welcome back once again to StudyIQ IAS English, and I am your educator Praveen Mishra, and along with me I have got our beloved Ankit Singh sir with regard to the subject of economy. So here we are in front of you guys to provide you the first reaction of GS Paper 3 Mains 2025. So Ankit sir, over to you. What's your opinion? What type of question paper it is?
Well, looking at the economy, my first reaction was that this is a mix of tough and moderate questions, purely from an economic point of view, because the questions here, purely if you look at the first question, at the 11th question, it asks you an index. But when you go deep into these questions, you'll find out that using that index, you'll have to analyze a particular issue that is very favorite to Indian economy. First is you have to ensure financial inclusion. You have to ensure overall inclusion in the economy, and that you get an idea of how much inequality in India is. So this is first question. You have to distinguish between two indexes. So you have to start your answer here by using the two indexes, and then you have to go deep in why do we need an inequality adjusted index. So this was first question. In the second question, if you go, you'll see that this second question talks about something which has been in the news for the greater part of an year, which is due to the problems the world is facing because of the differences that the countries have gotten in terms of global trade. For example, since the onset of President Trump in US, we have seen US increasingly has imposed tariffs on all the nations it trades with, including India. So this creates a possibility of challenges of free trade and multilateralism in the world. So this is the context of why this question has been asked. And you have to provide the challenges of what Indian economy would face going forward, especially at the time when we want to increase the global trade, be it trade in goods or be it trade in services. So here you have to take a very deep analytical outlook on understanding the problems that India faces in the world and India faces on its own. Coming to the third question, it is a very straightforward question from the subject of agriculture. You have to basically explain the factors that influence farmers whenever they have to decide what crops they have to cultivate. And this is purely a market-driven factor away from the historical PDS and away things.
So, sir, on a scale of 0 to 10, what will be the rating as per you on the toughness, stiffness, the hardness of the question paper?
For a purely economic questions, I would say I would rate them somewhere around 7.5 to 8.
Okay.
And from the agricultural questions are somewhat easier. So I'd say 6, 6.5, not more than that in any case.
Right.
So sir, now let me tell me, how do you reckon the science and tech as well as the environment and disaster management portions of the exam?
Well, sir, to be very honest, considering this question, as you can see here, they have directly asked the question on International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. Okay, that is purely current affairs based question. And what will be the implications of the success of this project for the future global energy?
Global energy.
So it's a core science question. It might look like at the first instance, okay, that I can just explain about the reactors and fusion energy and then go ahead. That's not exactly the question is. Firstly, you'll have to explain, yes, obviously the fusion energy part, and then going ahead with the thermonuclear experimental reactor part, and then how it can be utilized when it comes to provide the sufficient amount of supply, not just at the regional level, but at the global level. So I have to take into the consideration the multiple facets or the multiple resources of the countries, that how they are going ahead with, and also I will have to explain in brief, like kind of a that
What is
differentiation.
ITR?
Okay,
Yes.
yes. And apart from that, yes, also the present availability, like which country is based providing energy with regard to the coal or hydroelectricity, or let's say wind energy, or let's say nuclear energy, like all of those things. So a question which is already a 4-line plus of the question,
And that to a 10-mark question.
and that to a 10-mark question.
You
so
have to
it's a
put
big
this,
challenge.
yes, you have to put all this information in just one and a half page.
150 words, like a compressed answer for a very elaborated question. This is the biggest irony that firstly I saw, right? Okay. So moving ahead, how can India achieve energy independence through clean technology by 2047? So it's basically targeting that Viksit Bharat campaign, first of all, by 2047, and now talking about clean technology. Okay, so clean technology, I will have to mention first of all, like wind energy is clean, and this is another irony, but the nuclear technology, if used cleanly, it is the purest form of energy. And then coming back to the another one,
The second part of this question, it wants you to tell how biotechnology can help in this regard.
Exactly.
And in this topic, you can use the questions that we have understood with crops derived fuels. Like biofuel we have done, there are different generations of biofuel. First and second generation we have already been using, that is ethanol. But going forward here, the biotechnology can play an important role in using algae and using other crops when it comes to generating fuels.
That's true. So in that, one thing I would like to add,
Yes, sir.
as of now, we as a country of India, when we talk about specifically the organizations like CSIR or the organization that we have got it in Pune or the other scientific industries, what we have got here as of now, we are lacking far behind in research. Unfortunately, that's very unfortunate, but that's true. And this is where, as an aspirant, I must represent here, okay, that crucial role in this endeavor. So we are on the path to achieve endeavor. We haven't achieved endeavor yet, specifically biotech. Not talking about the other dimensions of technology. Obviously, we are doing good in communication, we are doing good in space technology, we are doing good in the defense technology as well. But unfortunately, biotechnology is kind of a underdog so far, or let's say the one which has been more and more of ignorant or more and more of shown less interest by us. Okay, unfortunately, but yeah, we are working over it. So moving ahead, what is carbon capture, utilization and storage? Once again, core science question, right? So what is
Also
the potential role?
question, something every aspirant should be able to know what is a CCUS technology and how you can utilize to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
Simply speaking, UPSC has given the core questions this time, core from economy, core from science, and they have made the statement that yes, you can't skip NCRTs. That's it. So seawater intrusion, sir. This your, I guess this is your part. Okay.
The seawater intrusion in a coastal aquifer is a major cause of concern when it comes to the health of groundwaters available in the coastal areas. And in coastal areas, we have also seen there are traditional forms of agricultural practices that are grown. But now imagine if the seawater comes inside the coastal areas, all those prevalent agriculture would be damaged. So this not just creates the problem of food security, but also would lead to income security of the native people. So this purely would look, or it prima facie might appear as an environment question, but you have to take a multi-dimensional approach in answering this question. You'll have to, first of all, mention the environmental problem, and then you'll have to touch upon the social and economic aspects of this problem. So this, in a way, tests your multi-dimensional ability, tests how much can you incorporate in a span of 150 words. Moving to the next question, terrorism is a global scourge. We all know that. Now, the best part of this question, how it has manifested in India. And terrorism, something every Indian is aware of. We have directly or indirectly faced terrorism in each and every aspect of our life. Now, this question, look at it what I'm trying to say. The second part of this question, what are the countermeasures adopted by the state? So in a way, this question is asking you to mention Operation Sindoor, because we have understood Operation Sindoor, it played a very important role when it comes to the actions taken by a state in order to retaliate against the terrorist activities, and how India from the last or from the past decade or so has ratcheted up its way of retributing against the terrorist activities, be it surgical strikes, be it Balakot bombing, and now with the Operation Sindoor, we have taken up a notch at every single time. So this you have to mention. Now coming to the 10th topic.
Most beautiful question ever.
I'll say the most, among the most favorite topics of UPSC. Every 2 to 3 years, you'll see a question coming on left-wing extremism. But why this question this year? Have you taken a look at the newspaper? Have you taken a look at what Home Minister, Home Secretary have said multiple times? That India is on a track of eradicating, of freeing India from the clutches of left-wing extremism. And this is expected to happen as soon as next year. So, you'll prima facie hear this as a measure of encountering the left-wing extremism, but this is only one part of the strategy. You'll have to mention other parts of the strategy, like asking the cadres to surrender, promoting economic development in those regions which have been historically called as a red corridor regions of India. So you'll have to mention each and every measure taken by the state, not just kinetic measures, but also non-kinetic measures like development. Coming to the 11th question. This question talks about fiscal health index. Now, why this question was asked? Primarily, this cause of concern has been there in Indian federalism for a long time, but this has increased since the time of COVID-19 pandemic. Primarily because of the tussle between the government of India and government of Kerala, in which the government of Kerala wants to borrow more money from the market without the need of taking permission from the central government time in and time again. But you have to understand, Constitution under Article 292, 293 says that governments of India and government of states can borrow money from domestic markets. But when it comes to government of states, they'll have to take permissions of the central government if they have the loans pending with central governments. So this is how this question prima facie asks you a fiscal health index. You'll have to tell what is fiscal health index, what it includes. So this is a factual part. But the second part of this question is an analytical part. You'll have to put this context in how the fiscal performance of the state is something we also need to take care in order to ensure the macroeconomic health of Indian economy.
So, sir, tell me, let's assume that today you were there in the examination hall, and what you would have just stated post the examination, the moment you step out of the hall, 12 p.m. sharp.
In economy, I would have stated that paper is tough.
Okay. And the other parts?
Other parts are somewhat not easy at all, but somewhat relatively easier than economy.
Okay. So guys, be prepared.
And in the 12th question, you can see this is something, a very talked about scheme of Government of India, always in the news, production linked incentive scheme. So this in a way compensates for the more tougher questions by giving you a simple, straightforward question that you can solve easily.
Means something UPSC said that I'm going to ask something from the trend.
Yes. Why not at least, if the bowlers are bowling every ball bouncer, they sometime give you a loose ball, which you have to hit for a 6, and this is that question you have to do.
One googly.
Yes.
And that to 250 words, 15 marks.
Yes.
Score as much as you can.
Now this 13th question, although related to agriculture, but here you have to take again a multidimensional perspective. It asks you to enumerate the factors responsible for depleting groundwater in India. First, the major reason is agriculture. Then comes the human consumption. So you have to take urbanization here, you have to take agriculture here, you have to take industrialization here. So 3 aspects you have to cover. This although not overtly an environmental question, but you'll have to incorporate those themes into it. Now, another loose question that examine the scope of food processing industries in India. UPSC has a line, food processing industries, and this question gets repeated year after year after year in one form or the other. The content of those questions remain the same.
Once again, one of the favorite topics of UPSC.
Yes, yeah. Once again a favorite topic. So you can't say that economy paper out and out was tougher paper. No, it is a mix and match of both, moderate, easy, but majorly a tougher questions like we have already discussed. Now, sir, science and tech, nanotech is something we have been wanting to develop, but we have struggled. Now, see, this question asks you to link a science and tech technology, topic of nanotechnology and how this can improve the socio-economic status of farmers. So, see how this interplays the need of both mixing science and tech with the agriculture. So, which is a part of science and tech and economy syllabus, right? So, this is how...
And absolutely, I have to go ahead with the fusion study, like agriculture along with science. So India aims to become a semiconductor manufacturing hub. So this is, sir, one thing, means the moment I saw this question, it was directly linked to 2 countries. First is our co-relationship with Taiwan, and secondly with South Korea, right? Those who are leading in the production of semiconductors. So the first thing that we must mention here is the geopolitical dimensions, right? That first of all, presently, semiconductor has become our oxygen. Right, we can't go ahead without semiconductors. Every single place we have to go through it. So obviously, first thing I must be knowing about what is semiconductor, what's its usage, and why there are countries like Taiwan and South Korea, those who are the leading market, those who are the
manufacturers of the market, and researchers of the semiconductor technology.
It's like good R&D, good manufacturing, as well as their market capture. Obviously, good R&D and good production that will lead ultimately to the market capture. So I must be going ahead and understanding that, yes, the India-Taiwan relations, they have been in news since last 2 years. India-South Korea relations, or in fact, the whole of South Korea has been in news. Okay, so semiconductor was something, okay, which was outcome of this one particular events. Okay, this is here. That is
COVID-19 and shutdown led to shortage of semiconductor across the world.
Yes.
And time in and time again, many countries realize that we can't rely on 1 or 2 countries for the supply of semiconductors. So here comes India's role. India has been seen as a key component of China Plus One strategy, where companies moving out of China would look to set up a new installation somewhere. And India is in a prime position for that. We know it, Government of India knows it. But that does not mean that we will be able to gather each and every investment in this field. So for that, we need to create conducive conditions and deal with the challenges. Both you have to mention in this particular answer.
So just now I just clicked in my mind. I guess we had this video on our channel with regard to semiconductor mission.
Sir, we have covered almost everything.
Yes, almost.
If
That's
we
true.
try to tabulate what we have covered and come in the exam, believe me, it would take a lot of time and you'll see a lot of hit rate. But people in the market do it. I'm not in a favor of claiming that, yes, I knew it. We were doing what is the right process to do it. We were following the current affairs. And this exam, you'll have to accept it as a current affairs based exam. So whatever comes obviously would be in news. So that is why we do the process in a right way. Praveen sir, I and other people in the channel, they have a fixed set of system which pays rewards every year.
Okay, so we have got this Paris climate, minerals, resources, and everything. So I guess, sir, let's wait for the detailed discussion. Okay, we shall be having on our same channel, guys. So stay tuned with the channel. I guess in not more than next 2 hours, we shall be coming live. Okay, firstly, Ankit sir will take guard of the subject of economy as well as internal security. Then I will be joining along with Ankit sir itself with the subjects of science and technology as well as environment. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much. I believe you guys have got the first impression that how the paper was and how to tackle it as well in a glimpse, in a shot. So let's wait for next not more than 2 hours and let's come.
We'll come live again between 2:30 and 3 and we'll tell you each and every how to approach these questions, what all to include, what all to avoid. Right. So stay tuned. Let's meet again in few hours. Have a good day.
Good day, guys.